The star of today's video is going to be this Yard Machines by MTD automatic transaxle with cruise lawn tractor. It's pretty much all here. I've got the tractor and also a cutting deck. I don't believe I have a belt to fit that, but that's the least of my worries because it's known to have a blown engine. So what I want to see is this a viable candidate for, oh, by the way, and it was a 46-inch triple deck blade. I've never seen this. It's not a real hydro, but it's got a pedal. New one to me. You have forward, neutral, and reverse, but it's got a pedal, I guess, once you're in gear to adjust the speed. So not a true hydro, more of probably a belt that you're just engaging, or maybe it's got variable pulleys. I don't know exactly what we're dealing with yet. Probably more of a variable pulley situation. Unknown. Anyway, what engine does it have? It's got one of my favorites, if it was running, 21 overhead valve intake, and when I got it, this is how I found it, with the cover off. So somebody's been in there. I guess it rolls over. It's stuck there, but I don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe completely blown with a hole through the crank. I don't even know. Let's take a look what else we got. We got parts. Oh, it's got the key. Okay. Choke cable still goes. PTO. Well, that's not going to work without the. Looks like it has a parking brake lock there, a drive lock there. No battery, of course, and adjustable height. Looks like it's been kept inside most of its life. These springs are still nice and bright. It was outside now, but of course it's junk, so that's where junk stays. Seat seems a little wobbly there. Oh yeah, that bolt there will need to be maybe tightened up a little if possible. Anyway, seat's not bad. Got one big crack in it, but not bad. I like these that can tip forward, because if you do leave your stuff outside, like some of mine stays, that helps keep your butt dry next time. I don't know if this was a custom add-on somebody put because their foot was slipping or what. Seems kind of heavy duty for something made by MTD Yard Machines. But anyway, I guess the main thing is, let's just assess what we have here. It looks like that is the right deck, even though it's not on the tractor. Looks like the deck is correct. So I guess the main thing is, let's just start looking at the engine, see what we have and what we don't. Hey, they left the hardware in the little drink cup holder. That could come in handy. I have high hopes for this machine, or at least the fact that this engine could come back, because, well, here's what's interesting, is they even have the gas tank loose, like they were chasing something. But anyway, I really like this engine. These Briggs V-twins are actually pretty good. They used to have the opposed twins. Those are okay. But these are actually one of my more favorite mowers. So let's see, did they run it out of oil? Now there's some oil on there. It's low. I mean, it's supposed to be all the way up in here, but that's not enough low that, let me double check that. That's not enough low that you should have any issues. And it's not clean oil, so they didn't run it out. That's one thing to look for. Pro tip, if you see brand new oil on something that's blown, that means they ran it out and then filled it up later. So let me just try to turn this and see what we get. It seems sticky, but like, is it just because there's rust on the flywheel here? Yeah, it seems to be breaking loose. So I'm going to sand up that flywheel. Let's start there before we get too excited. But it actually does turn, and I don't hear any major clunks. And the only thing that gave me hope when I saw this is the fact that they took this out. Like maybe they were chasing these wires back in here. Maybe they were chasing the safety switch. Maybe that's why it wouldn't turn over. Looks like Johnny Fix-It's been here, and I see some wire connectors here that are not factory. So maybe somebody's been playing around. Fuel filter looks a little dirty there. I see a fuse over here. Okay, I'm just going to start by just sanding this and getting that to get the proper clearance to its magnets, and then we'll start there and work our way out. As I was setting up the camera, I noticed this spark plug has been removed and the wire's off of that. So maybe they were having a problem with spark. I have no idea. So being that that plug is already out, let's go take the other one out, just so it's easy for the engine to turn over in case the starter has any issues, or in case, what's going on here? Oh, that's the rubber thing. Off camera, I just tried to get this crack loose. That's the rubber insulator from inside my socket. So that plug actually looks halfway decent. Try to get you focused there. Looks little mostly perfect color wise, and it's an original Champion plug, so I don't think this thing's been serviced too many times. Okay, I just want to turn the key. I'll put a jump pack on it. I'm going to turn the key and see if anything happens. I'm going to sit on the seat, do all the things. And I'm wondering if something electrical happened and they started tearing into the engine, or did the engine blow and they were just looking it over. We just don't know. Let's see what we have here. Okay, nothing's smoking. That's probably a good sign. It's a good place to start. All right. Come on up here with me. Foot on the brake. Oh, that key doesn't even turn. There's like something wrong with the actual key switch. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, we got nothing. And now it's turning much easier. We got absolutely nothing. Okay, let's see. PTO switch. Let me hold that down with my hand. Nope. What else? Parking brake has to be on, maybe? No. See, maybe this is what they were chasing. And I mean, that thing doesn't want to stay in position, but that's not what's holding it out. Okay, this is good, I think. They might have been chasing an electrical gremlin, and maybe, just maybe, that engine's okay. Oh wait, I didn't press boost. Now we have power to the engine. My bad. Yeah, this switch has to be held, which is the PTO, because the belt's off it. That engine turns, and by the spark wire there puffing in and out, I gotta assume we got at least a piston moving up and down, and then this one's hanging right there. Oh, gotta hold the other side with my leg now. So I see that spark plug boot jumping. So that means, and I don't hear big knocking, and I don't see oil pouring out. So what's wrong with this engine? I guess we start by checking spark. I've enlisted the help of this green bungee cord to help me keep that PTO lever pulled back so that safety doesn't keep tripping out on me. Now let's check for spark. That's zoomed in there pretty good. I am on the right side of the engine. And I see spark. Albeit very weak spark. Probably if I had a new plug, I'd probably see different results. Let me get one. Got a brand new Champion RC12YC here. Maybe now I can see it better. Yeah, I'm seeing it, but it kind of comes and goes. Now I'm not seeing it. Okay, we may have something going on here. No, there's not spark there. Let's try the other side. I saw a couple of flashes, but it should be a nice blue spark, and I saw a red spark, which usually means bad spark or weak spark. Can't do it in the sun there. Try it over here. Whoa. Yeah, that side's looking good. I got the plugs in on both sides. I just want to see what the compression will sound like. I can't tell if I lost the spark on that one. It's real hard to tell out here in the sunlight today. Let's just see what it sounds like with the compression now there. What? It's a little smoky, but something that's... Oh, and she just cut off. Or did my jump pack turn off, and that killed the starter, or the shut-off solenoid. Now the jump pack looks like it's still on. Anyway, ooh, that's kind of good. I think this thing could actually run. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, I figured out why it died. The brake, the parking brake had come off. Parking brake, it jiggled out. So yeah, a lot of smoke. coming out of that exhaust. Holy cow. Are you getting that? Whew. Well, engine internals sound fantastic. I don't know if that oil smoke would go away or if that's why I have oil residue all over the valve cover, all over everything. Why do we have that oil? Is it just the valve cover leaking there? If it's on the outside of the engine, I got to think it's the valve cover. If it was the head, it would be in there. So yeah, not too bad, not too shabby. I think this valve cover is probably leaking pretty bad and getting down on that muffler. And actually, I see something on the top of that muffler. Let me try to get that piece off of there. There's something sitting on it, actually, now that I look, right where it was burning. I don't know if you saw those little pieces fall out, but it was just maybe mouse turds or something. I don't know. But anyway, the engine is extra oily. All this is just oil. And this, so probably just that valve cover is just leaking. No big deal there. Wow. Didn't expect that. All right. At this point in time, I might eat my words later, but at this point in time, I see no reason not to put this back together because the switch is starting and everything else, and we don't want to run this for longer than few minutes because we have no air cooling right now. So I'm going to clean up the top of the engine a little bit, just a couple places where there's some seeds and stuff to get the proper airflow. And I'm going to put this all back together and hope this is all good until we can get to the deck. And maybe we'll find something wrong when we go to put that on. I don't know. But I will be sealing that valve cover at some point, but not right now. Let's just go see what we have. So I got a whole bunch of different screws here, which I didn't take out off camera. And I'm putting them by like kind. So I have 4. So I assume these are the kind that would be for a fuel tank. And the other ones look all the same, which are the ones that would be for the shroud, which is a no-brainer to put that back on. So anyway, I'm going to do that, and I'll bring you back. Got the tank all mounted there on both sides, and I, of course, got sidetracked while I was working. And I just wanted to see what this rig job was here. Orange from the harness, which would be either charging wire or headlights, goes out. It used to be connected to the orange there, direct, most likely. Goes out to an aftermarket switch on the dash and back. So you can switch whatever the orange is on and off. I don't know if that's the battery charging one or the headlight charging one, but I'll look it up later and we'll all know. But yeah, somebody was having a problem with something. This one doesn't have the harness for the headlights, although it's just 2 wires. And I did find the harness tucked back here where it was supposed to go up to the front. So nobody's been using that for a while, so maybe that's the one they were having trouble with. And that was the headlight switch? I have no idea. Okay, let's get this cover put back on. Get everything aligned here. That looks right. And that goes first before the screen, right? Yeah. Okay. I'll tighten that up. Bring you back. Not too bad for the filter. Pre-filter, I'm gonna throw that out. It served its purpose. Now we have proper cooling to the engine. Alright, now a few other things I noticed, like this clamp is not down there, this clamp is not over there, it's not in its little holder here. Let's just correct those little items quickly. They've just been playing with everything. I don't know what kind of issue they were having. I'll probably find all this out and eat my words later, but right now I can't see what was making this engine not run. Ah, just broke that clamp. Let me get another clamp, bring you back. Ow. All right. Tuck you back in your little home there so you don't get in trouble with the hood. All right, I think we're back to OEM. Well, I wish I caught that on camera. What just happened is I just started it off camera just to hear it run and see if it was going to blow out any stuff. It ran for a minute and then I heard a clunk and everything came to a screeching halt. It is now locked hard. Something is wrong with that engine. What in the world? Boom. What happened? I looked under there. I don't see anything that's holding the pulleys up. It sounds like there's something on the flywheel hitting. Back apart. Now we figure out why they were doing what they were doing. All right, you and I are going to see it at the same time. Is there something magnetic stuck to that flywheel, or what? Or is it internal? I think it's something underneath that flywheel. It's holding us up. It went bad. Maybe that's why we have this, because the charging system came apart and they were trying to bypass it with that. That would make sense. All right, so what I'm feeling, I don't think it's in the engine. I think it's underneath this. It's either the magnets came off the flywheel or the charging system is all fried and there's like a coil. We'll see in a minute. Luckily, this is the largest socket I have, 1.25 inches. That's what it is. Because without an impact, you have to try to hold that flywheel and, you know, wrench on it. And many times to limited success. And I'll bring you around the other side and we'll do the old Terrell special. Do you folks watch Terrell? I do. I've got a Terrell spark plug necklace. I've got a Terrell mug. I bought the whole package. Love that guy. Terrell fixes all. If you are so inclined, this is what he does, and it works. Pry up on it, give it a good wrap. There you go. Had to cut there. My neighbor was coming out and talking. Anyway, talking about how hot it is, and it is hot. Here is the problem. What has happened here is the magnet has come off of that location and has gotten caught in the other magnets and jams it up. Well, here's what it's jamming on. And it's been jamming on. That is the charging coil. It is absolutely mutilated. That's supposed to be circular. This piece is supposed to be, I think, continuous to here. And it is absolutely mangled. This creates power to recharge the starting battery and to run the headlights. So without it, you're going to be, that's why they got the switch up here. That's why they rigged the wire. That's why this engine has been scrapped. Luckily, it's all external components. These are probably available used and readily available because they usually don't go bad. There's one coil for the headlights usually that's AC, and then they rectify one for DC that goes to the battery. We don't need to know all that. We just need to know that it's a component that can be fixed. Now, here's the problem with this. If you had a magnet, you might get lucky and glue one back on, but I'm going to probably need that whole flywheel, and I don't think that's going to come cheap, and it's sure not going to ship cheap because that's cast iron, and that's a lot of weight, and shipping costs are up. So I'm going to have to see what we're going to do to get used parts for this. I don't think we need new ones. A used one is just as good. This one's got, you know, the flywheel with the starter, so we're going to have to get the one, you know, that's for this exact engine. And same with the charging coil. I don't think they're going to be terribly expensive. That would negate fixing this, but that is totally the problem why they had this whole engine apart, because they were trying to track down that problem, which didn't show up until these jammed just right and stopped the engine as I turned it off. I heard that noise, and I heard the noise that the other owner would have been hearing, which is why they started tearing into this. So now it all makes sense. The rigged wires, because the charging coil was probably shorting out to the flywheel as it ran. The fact that it was apart, the fact that it's been scrapped, everything makes sense. To me, I'm still excited because, as I said, that's one of my favorite engines. It's really a good one. It puts out crazy power, and they're pretty trouble-free. They don't have a real bad Achilles heel like some of the single cylinders with that the decompression thing flying off the cams and everything else we're hearing about. So I think it's worth fixing. To me, it is, because this is 21 horsepower if we get it going with the 46-inch deck, and I'm going to need, you know, whatever this is plus whatever it is to get the deck going, the belt, whatever. So should be worth fixing, at least to me. And if I didn't show earlier, in case you're looking for if you don't want to buy the parts from Yard Machines, whether they sell them or not, I don't know, but it's a Briggs motor. And if you clean off your little valve cover here, you will see that that is exactly the location of your model, serial number, code. You will need that to order the parts, to order the proper alternator. I'm going to call that an alternator, charging system. You will need that exact one. You don't want to get something similar. You don't want to get something kind of like that. You want to get that one. So I think that's going to be the least of our problems. The flywheel, again, like, because the shipping costs are going to be high, probably a little more on the pricey side. So not insurmountable, because to me, this is a valuable machine, being that it has this 21 horsepower engine and a 46-inch cut. So that's a pretty good combination. Some people don't like, you know, certain sizes. This is a size I prefer to use for myself, and also a good size to sell. Some people only have a 36-inch gate that they can go through. Such things limit them. I don't have that problem. So here's my plan as it sits at this moment. Things could change. Used flywheel, starting coil, Chinese or new or used, whatever I can find. Not so important, not so drastic. I need to find the belt that goes from the motor to the deck that we have. And then I'm just going to quick go through the deck real quick before I start ordering parts and delay myself further. I want to go through that deck and just see what we have to see if we need to order parts for that too. And then I could get them coming. Let's take a look. Before I get to the deck, let's take a look underneath and just see what's here. Here's what I see. It looks like it goes on this hole and that hole. Because the deck is not on it. It didn't come on it. I see a spring hanging there. That's the PTO. To me, that looks bent, but could it possibly be at that weird angle? And this idler is good. I see a zip tie. Let me get you backed off here a little bit. I see a zip tie holding this up. I see another zip tie holding something here. But anyway, this pulley, perfectly fine. This pulley with the weird long bolt turns, but is not happy about it. It stops the second I stop turning it. You would expect to see them kind of roll a little bit beyond that. So this one, I think somebody's over torqued that bolt terrible and is smushing the bearings. A lot of these have a center sleeve, so you can't crush the bearings. I'll bet you somebody lost the sleeve out of that. But anyway, it's there. So we got, you know, the blade, the pulley for the motors there, idler, other pulley. Okay, I think we're looking okay under here. And then these are the pieces up here that the blade will attach to front and back. We can see the cable going up and down there. That is the adjustment. I still don't know what this is for, if this is for the traction or if it's for something that goes on to the blade. I think it's the blade because it's low. It's lower than the one for the traction drive, which is up there. So let's go look at the deck. So this is the deck I got, and now I'm not so sure that this is the right one. It was sitting near the mower, but again, this guy was just getting rid of whatever. This looks like it's supposed to go on something, a bar, and the back ones clip into something. So I'm thinking now this is not the right blade, although it is a triple blade. I don't think this is going to be the right one for this mower. It is a triple deck. Let me get a measurement on it and see if it measures right, but maybe this isn't the right one. And oh my gosh, look at that blade. Holy cow, who uses them till they fall off, the wing falls off. Anyway, probably doesn't matter anyway because I don't know that this is the right deck. The deck that's supposed to fit this tractor is supposed to be a 46. Yeah, it's 46 to here. We got you in the shot there, yeah. So maybe that's the right one, but I don't understand this front part, how that would mount. Yeah, I don't know. And that wheel there is sitting at a terrible angle. That will need to be replaced or fixed. Yeah, I'm not so sure this is the right one. Quick update. So I saw those holes up here, that one and the one over there. Well, I happen to have another. I can't show you this project yet, but look at this. This mounts, there's a bracket I'm missing that mounts to the front, those holes. This is a different tractor. And that hangs your deck. And I don't have it. Well, I have one off of this tractor, which may or may not be the right one, but anyway. Oh, secret tractor. Sorry, we're showing you too much. Okay, I'm feeling a little more confident now and looking over this more now that I see how that front piece is supposed to have something. I thought the tractor, it hung on the tractor. It just hangs on the rod. So the rod is replaceable. Anyway, what I'm seeing is this is some kind of a cam out thing. I don't understand. If you pulled that, you would probably have this brake material would go into there, but I don't get what goes on there yet. Okay, let's look at the rest. We got the double stack pulley over here. We got the one that'll go there. Let's just see if anything turns. It's been a while. There's rust all over that one over there is a little grindy maybe. Let's see the end play up and down. I tried to go like this and just see if any of those sheaves, some people call these mandrels or spindles. Oh yeah, these are all actually in really good shape. So yeah, that's okay. That's good to go. We even have a decent belt, even though it has a little rust on it. Those are all turning. Oh, and that's why we're grinding. It's because the brake was on. So yes, of course. Good. So I think we actually have a deck that we can use as long as I have the bracket for it. As long as I can find the bracket for it. Could that rod on the mystery second mower fit? I will look up the parts. For you, it'll be seconds. For me, it'll be probably a half hour until I look up the parts to see if that's the right part for the tractor that I need off of this machine. And then we'll work on this machine some other day. That's why it's a mystery video. So I want to take this piece off. I don't think the wire harness will go through, so I'll probably have to take this plate off below it. But let's start by just taking the main screws off. I'm going to call it an alternator. I don't know if that's the real term for it. Generator? Coil? Boy, is that thing mangled around there. I've just got to get at the bolt head. That's all I need. Oh yeah, we're there. Oh, one more. Yeah, that thing is destroyed. What a mess. Okay, then I'll have to take this plate. I just want to take the piece off and make sure we're going to be successful when we go to put back on. Make sure that's all that's wrong. If you guys want to see some of the carnage, I mean, look at the force that thing took to fold that up. That's unbelievable. That used to be a complete circle. At some point in its life. Now let me get a Torx. I don't know what size Torx that is. Assuming like maybe T25. I don't know. One of the bigger ones. That one. Lucky day. The reason I have to take this off is the wiring harness goes underneath it. Possibly we can just fold it up out of the way and pull this harness back off here. See what I'm doing down here? And pull that harness down. And here's what's cool. Oh no, they modified it past the harness. Sorry. I was thinking we were going to be able to just... There we go. I was thinking we were going to be able to replace just the plug. There's our prize. Just this, and fix those wires that he had bypassed, but I can bypass those. That's why they bypassed it. It had to have been. Do you like carnage videos? I don't know. I can't lie. That's pretty impressive. 21 horsepower coming to a screeching halt. Wow. what I got here is a 46-inch deck. I just wanted to take another look at it now. So this is the brake. All the pulleys are free. The belt is not new. It's got some rust marks from just sitting in the pulley grooves. Both of these pins are there. Those were free. Free moving, that is. How about this? I don't think that is moving at the moment. What by that I mean the idler pulley. No, it moves. Okay. It was just happy in the tension that it was in. Looks like the front hooks are good. Everything's straight there. This part, I looked at another deck just like this that is supposed to be bent back. This one is supposed to be straight. That's proper. We got the chute. And I think when I originally looked at this, I knew that this blade is missing both ends. And the reason is somebody probably bought, I always try to think about what people were doing with it. Somebody probably bought a set of 3 blades. Those blades are much newer than this because they still have the wings on them. But this is a separate size. The outer 2 are one size. This is a separate one. I've ordered a set of 3. Other things I see, this part here, this little reinforcement guard is bent down terrible. Like that would even be catching the grass. That's supposed to basically glide along the ground. That's up higher than, of course, this is. This actually would probably be more gliding on the ground, and then this would be, obviously up 1 inch or so above that. But being that it's caught on something, it's terribly ripped. I looked that up. That little weeny piece of metal is $64 shipped to me. That's a lot of money. So it's not getting that. The other thing I noticed is I think it had a secondary one of those over here shown on the parts thing. But the worst problem with this deck, this piece here we can see is ripped off, and there is the other half of it. Now, what this used to do was it's a semi-flat piece, and it goes from there to there. And I know from experience that if you don't have that piece, yeah, it'll throw grass really nice because that piece isn't there. But if you hit a tree stump, if you run into anything, garden edging, whatever, this has a tendency to fold in real easy because there's not much holding it now. It's pretty strong steel, but there's a lot less holding it, and it'll get in there and get into your blade and cause you a bad day. So that will need to be addressed. This piece here, I will just repair by bending. That piece there is part of the deck. It was welded on originally, front and back, so we will have to manufacture something. This other skid guard here, I'm not going to worry about if it did have one. It seems like it probably did because I see a hole there and I see another hole there. So it may have had that. But that's where we're going to go with this. So for today, I'm going to start bending that back. And it's probably stretched pretty good. It's probably not going to turn out 100%, but it'll be a lot better than digging a trench into your yard. So let's see what we can do. First attempt is just going to be trying to bend it back in place. Obviously, the easy way to do it, or the more sensible way, would be to lay it flat. But because this metal stretched so bad, I don't know if I take these bolts out, bend it flat, will those holes be able to line up again? So let's just see if it wants to move back as is. Probably looks a lot closer from the angle you're looking, but the truth is the blade misses it on the backside. It's behind it. If you've got that bent right now, that metal moved way easier than I thought it ever would, and I wanted to make sure it was touching at the front edge so it doesn't try to rip off, rip back again. The backside will just glide along whatever's there, but as long as we're touching here, the backside can go angle away or straight back, whatever it wants to bend itself to. Okay, so that worked out way better than I thought it would. So while we're in a bending mood, that wheel looks like it's angled a little bit like that. And this one is the bracket. It's like coming, I don't know if that would be straight. It's like that. So we can bend those brackets back and get those tracking a little better. See that one? That one is supposed to be, it's like that. It's supposed to be more like that. And then this one is quite obvious. I'll start with the less bent one first. Ooh, she's tight. She's rusty. Bigger impact. Let's do it. That one doesn't fit in there. Yeah. Yeah, this is just bent down a little bit here. Not bad. Pretty good. Get that stuff off our bearing there, or our bushing. Oh yeah, that wheel's kind of hogged out too. Probably should have ordered those. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't. Yeah, we're in a much better alignment. Not perfect, but good enough for a lawn. And in case anybody didn't believe me that front will fold in if you don't have this thing across the chute area there, well, there's your proof. It's been hidden, or it hit in the past and somebody has already pounded it back. So that's been a known problem on this unit for some time. I just see things as I'm working, so I kind of have to break in whenever I'm thinking about it. Almost tipped it over. Still didn't get it. There we go. Oh yeah, that one's really tweaked. Stuff like that doesn't often show up on cameras. Like hills look way flatter than they really are, things like that. But you could see anyway that the wheel has been rubbed a pretty good bit in there. I'm going to get an adjustable wrench, get on this, and just try to tweak it instead of impacting it. Oh, like butter. Like butter. Retweaked. Did I do that right? Nah, the factory would have had the bolt on the outside. But that's sort of interesting. They've got this on the wrong side. Yeah, you're supposed to go from the outside. I just saw the wear mark there and put it like that. That's not how they go. There we go. All right, now blades are on the way already. I have to make a piece of metal to span that and also try to see is that out how far it's supposed to be, because that would affect how the grass will come down through. If it's folded way in, it may clog a lot more. So I got to try to figure out the measurement. I'll probably measure from here and then measure again there and at least make sure it's similar. Off camera, I just took both of those. I just realized they were in the lowest most hole, both of them. So I'd put them in the second hole. I think that's more the cut height that you'd want them at. Why would you want them all the way holding that deck up? My guess is because that piece was carving a channel into their lawn and they weren't going to get under there and fix it. Most people don't realize how easy some of these decks come off to fix something like that. Or do they care? Whatever. Anyway, that's how I'm going to set it up. I'm going to start by just getting some kind of measurement on this side here. So we're doing inches here, folks. And I'm 17 and an eighth there. Yeah, that curves in quite a bit. I'm 16 and 3/4 right there. So that has folded back some. And then I'm back to 17 something here. So this part here does have to come out a little bit. This part here can just be bent, I think. So let's see if we can get this out where we need it, and then we can get some steel put in here. All right, to bend. One of the most ridiculous things I've ever purchased. 24-inch. That is ridiculous. Every once in a while, boy, is it handy. I don't know if I'd really be leaning on it on a heavy tractor or a bridge or something, you know, but for like bending, for like getting around stuff and bending and positioning, man, you can't beat it. You don't need a $3,000 snap-on. Whoa. Let's see if we made some movement there. So now we're right there. We're like 17, actually. Goes a little less, 16 and 3/4. Back open to 17 by then. So I'm going to try getting on this and bringing it out too. That's just kind of bending this more than the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not getting the whole thing because this has a curve to it. It's very, very stout there. I think we made some progress. See where we're at. I think that by eye it looks good. A little over 17 there. Stays 16 and 7/8. Back to 17 by there. I may take a hammer, beat her just right there. That's one little spot I don't like. Other than that, I'm going to be good with that. Got you zoomed in there on this piece on what is the back side. I just want to see what's all still holding it. This was that piece that went across. This is the remnants of it. Those welds are on there better than I thought they were. Ooh. And let's see about the other side. Yep. Okay. Off camera, I will remove those tabs by whatever means necessary. Okay. I got that piece removed. I made it nice and shiny. I got the inner piece removed. It's a little cracked there, but made that nice and shiny, so now I can span the gap with some metal. Just in case anybody's having their hard time wrapping their mind around what I'm trying to build, here's another similar deck. This one doesn't have the front plate. It's a smaller deck. Probably doesn't need so much reinforcement, but anyway, it's this piece. It spans. It's fairly. It's got a lip on it, but it's fairly thin, really. They bent it up for strength, and they put the little gusset in there for strength. I'm not going to be able to do any of that, but they just basically welded it flat here, and the front part just welded right there, flat, and kind of made it curve a little bit. But it's basically not that thick. It looks thicker than it is because it has the rib in it. So you don't need much. And the easy things I could find were that flat piece is perfect, but that's like a piece for a front of a plow, like a 48-inch snowblower. So I really don't want to use that. I've got these pieces from a chair. These are like a backrest from a chair. They're really overbuilt chairs. A little thicker than I need, but if that didn't have that kick, I could use that. I was thinking this one, because I could make it come up the side like it did, but it's not quite long enough to make it where I need it over there, but I could weld another piece onto it. So I don't have the perfect piece in front of me, but I'm going to keep looking. I think those pieces I had there were overbuilding it beyond what's necessary. Basically, okay, so I got a lot of good, strong, gusseted metal back in there. So if I tie in right here, I've got something, even if I blow through this with the welder, I've got that bracket behind it. So I'm going to maybe drill a hole, go straight through this piece. Then I could weld to the bracket and the deck. Then on the other side, I'm going to come on top of this and put it on the outside. That way I'll have more than one welding point, so the deck may not rip off again, because the pressure is going to be this trying to push backwards. So I don't have to worry so much over here. I can almost just butt it up against just about. This part here is what's going to have to hold the weld. So I'm just going to use this rod. It's free, and it's not too thick that the grass can't go right around it. So let's roll with it. All right. I am not the world's fastest fabricator, but I have something that'll work. So I notched out a hole there, so it'll go back behind there, weld in. And I notched out a hole here. And the reason I notched out the hole is so the bottom of the rod will be about even. and then I cleaned up all back in there, and I'll show you how it fits. So I'm going to put this part back in there, and I'm going to got to clean that up a little bit more. I got to weld that, clean it up for welding, and there we go. So this I can weld. It's still not in there all the way. There. I can weld this along there and just to the deck shell. And the other part can weld to where I snuck it through the deck shell. And then this, I've got to clamp down farther. It fell out the other side, but it'll go down in there. And then I'll have several points to weld around that rod. Well, looky what we have here. Let's start by old one, new one. This one doesn't come with the fan. Don't need it. Can take the one off of that one. Just want to verify, like 9 5/8, 9 5/8. Teeth are all good on the new one, looks like. We got the same amount of teeth. Yep, they're lining up. Okay. And then one magnet. One magnet. Good. All right, as long as the fan lines up, looks like it should. We're looking good. It's got a good keyway. Not all buggered up. All right. Went with the bigger impact, expecting the worst. It was not bad at all. 214618, 216. Well, hopefully it's the right one. It looks right in every other way except for the casting number is different, but that may have changed over the years. Yeehaw! In real time, I'm waiting for that new alternator coil. I remember there's not much of an oil leaks anywhere on the engine, okay? But I remember we were seeing here a lot. It's got to be the valve cover because it's coming on the outside of the engine. If it was a head gasket, it would more likely be coming from in there. So let's get the valve cover sealed up. All it does is it'll create smoke, and it'll get everything dirty underneath it, which we see. And that's the muffler right there, or exhaust pipe, so that's super hot. So let's just use some sealant and get that back where we need it. And this side has that hose, and that's to give pulses to the fuel pump just above it there. So let's try to take that off. There we go. All right, everything looks clean and intact there. No reason to go heavy on the diagnosis. Let's just get some new sealant put on there. Whatever that gasket was not holding. I'm using Right Stuff 1 minute gasket maker. This is not RTV. This is a gasket maker. It's not just a sealant. So if you had no gasket, you could potentially use this same product. And yeah, I'm overkilling a little on the bottom because that's where it's going to leak when it's sitting, if it was going to leak. Multiple ways you can use this. You can just put it on there and torque it, or you could leave the bolts almost tight, put it on there, let it wait a minute or two, and then tighten the bolts. That way you got a little bit of bead there that you're squishing. So I'm going to put this straight on and then do the hose, because I just think I'm going to get it all over the place, or I'll make a hole in my bead there. Whoop! Kicked you there. Somebody's cross-threading. And as you can see, I just went for the torque right away. I don't believe in waiting that minute, because for a valve cover gasket, there's not really anything hard about resealing it if you did need it. And then if you forget to retorque it, whatever, you get busy, and then it's not torqued at all, which is probably worse. So let's do that. Let me get my hose put back. Where'd those little pliers go? And we'll try to use the bigger pliers because I can't find them at the moment. There we go. Pulse line's back on. That'll make our fuel pump activate. And we are done sealing that engine. Next order of business is to unrig. They had taken this connector from the alternator, which we're going to put on later once I receive it, gone to a switch on the dash, and then came back in so they could shut it off. I assume it was shorting out. That switch, as I said earlier in the video, is either for charging the battery or the headlights. And it was almost surely shorting out, probably while running, probably while sitting, killing their battery. So they haven't left me a lot here. If I have to, I could just wire it past, I don't have to use these little nubs they left me. But if I can, I'm going to try to cut these just right. Maybe I could still use those original wires, and then it'll be the original plugs and everything. I'll just have one piece going through, which is what would have been there from the factory. I'm going to try to just save as much of that orange. See, now we got this, their rigged up wire here out. And I'll remove the rest of that later. But I'm wondering if we're going to have enough there. Those little nubs might be just enough to strip back. Maybe I'll have to add a little piece. I don't know. I don't know why they would have removed so much. leave them that short. Why would they remove some in the middle unless they were just inside those connectors? And that's how they had to do it. Whatever. Let's see if I can get something to connect that to that. So for this particular repair, it'd be difficult to get our standard crimp connection in there because my crimper is going to have to be in here, and I'll barely be able to get it up in there. So I'm going to use these solder seal connectors. These ones have a low temperature solder that melts in the middle, and then these blue bands are goo that shrinks around, and the whole thing is a shrink tube. So it solders it and seals it. Well, it's a little long, so I've cut off the end of one. I'm going to have to add a piece of wire, so I'm going to be able to stick that down in there. I'm going to have to add a little piece of wire, which I have prepared. So I'm going to put the bottom one fully finished and then wire the top one so it doesn't keep falling out of there. These, I haven't tried them with the heat gun. I don't know if they're designed for a heat gun, but I just got this little butane torch. Works perfectly. You think, oh, solder, it's going to take a lot of heat. Well, they made it out of a special alloy, so you don't have to really heat it crazy hot. That's already done. So these are really nice. What I like is you don't, if you need it in a waterproof, this connector is not the waterproof kind, but if you use them for automotive, this is automatically waterproof. If you're putting your, depending on what kind of crimper you have, you may poke a hole through the side when you're either crimping it or crimping the plastic. So I've gotten used to these. They didn't used to have these when I was a young lad, and I am not afraid of using something that works. That's a little out of your league, a little out of your realm. It's always good to try new stuff, and don't let technology that could benefit you pass you by because you're stubborn.